Dan Fitzpatrick here at stockmarketmentor.com on Thursday, March 1st. Okay, new month, new flow of money coming in, and I think that's generally what's propping the market up because we're really, really in need of a pullback. Okay, the burning question, what's up with Apple? A couple things, but I'll start with the last part first. I don't think there's going to be much selling in Apple before March 7th. Like, who would be taking profits? And just about everybody has profits here, unless you bought today at the open. I don't think anybody's going to be taking profits too much before they announce their iPad, what's going on there. So because of that, I just don't see there being a lot of, quote, selling pressure. Now listen to me, this is important. I don't see there being a lot of selling pressure. What I am a little concerned with is how much buying pressure is there going to be between now and then. And in order to keep a stock moving higher, I mean, think about this. This is intuitively obvious to all but the dimmest light bulb. In order to keep a stock moving higher, buying pressure must outweigh selling pressure. It can be by only a teeny tiny amount, but it's got to be greater. Otherwise, the stock doesn't move higher. So I just don't know, and this is a big I don't know. I'm not going to make some market call. That's for the fools and the liars. I don't know whether there's going to be enough buying pressure to sustain this move into March 7th. But here's the deal. Even if there's not enough buying pressure, given the fact that you're probably just not going to see this kind of reversal like you saw back here, I don't know that we would see that again before the iPad, because how many folks, and I'm talking about the big guys, how many of them are going to get shaken out of this? I mean, the stock's still stupidly cheap. And when everybody's talking about the law of big numbers, which may apply to Exxon Mobil or something, but Apple makes stuff. It doesn't drill stuff, into the ground. And I'm not going to go into it here, but there is a difference. As long as Apple keeps making superior products and keeps gaining market share from others, and not only that, but the actual industry itself, or I should say the market for the products that Apple makes, continues to expand, they're going to continue to do well. They're going to continue to grow. And that's really the big deal. You think about it, the market itself has to expand. If the market's not expanding, then Apple at some point is going to slow down its growth. It's like they're not going to be able to help it. But until that magical moment in time, and I don't think it's coming anytime soon, there's certainly room to grow on the upside. But I'm talking here about trading. So if you're long Apple and you're fretting about the things that I just mentioned, I can't tell you whether to hold it over the iPad announcement. Let me put it this way. It's not a secret. I mean, don't you think some of this run-up is in anticipation of the iPad announcement? I kind of do. That's why I would look at this. I don't own any right. Well, I've got some option spreads on it, but for reasons that I mentioned to our members last night, and none of which have to do much with the stock itself, I closed out some pretty big call positions on it. But if you're still long this stock, certainly on options, you just need to understand that March 7th looms large, and there could very well be a big sell the news event. But here's the other thing. This stinking stock could gap up to 580 and keep going to $600 in the same day. We just don't know with this stock. I continue to say it's almost as if charts don't matter here, because you look at this stock, I haven't seen this kind of move in the stock before, ever. Maybe, I guess you could say back here, but this was from a hugely, deeply oversold market where just about everything was down. This, everything is up. So we're kind of in uncharted territory here on Apple. So I don't really know which way it's going to go. But here's what I would suggest. If you've got some pretty nice profits in Apple, hang on to the position for a couple more days. and then maybe take half off the table. Take a quarter off the table. Shoot, if you're really long, take it all off the table. It's really okay to leave some money on for the next guy. And besides that, you can always buy it back. You don't have to get every single percentage move in a stock that's rewarded you handsomely already. And that's really the key. You want to make sure you keep as much of the money as you've made, at least your open positions. You want to be able to keep as much of that as you can. And so the way to do that is not to get greedy. If you think like, oh my gosh, this is really going to pop on the iPad release because they're going to announce a bunch of cool stuff. Well, duh. Don't you think everybody thinks the same thing? I mean, who is going to trade this stock and say, oh, the new iPad's going to be crap. Nobody's going to like it. You have no edge. A little bit of tough love here to the Appleonians. You have no edge. I personally am waiting for the iPad. I can't wait. I skipped a generation. My iPad works so slow. I want to use it as a coaster. So I can't wait for the new iPad. But that's not coloring my view of the stock. Let's just say I'm cautious about it. I'm not bearish at all. If I had to choose between buying and shorting it, I would absolutely buy the stock. You know why? One reason. I don't even have to say anything. There you go. So the trend is up. Here's one thing that I'm a bit concerned about. It's the first day of the month. Volume was light. Not only that, but we got a close that was lower than the open. Apple still closed up on the day. You can see $1.50 up on the day, but you can see the stock actually went 4 cents higher than the opening print before it sold off. Again, still up on the day, but this is the first time in a while, other than these big red days here, but this is the first time in a while that the stock opens up, closes down, volume is less than the prior day. Again, those are red days though. Those are distribution days, but we saw what happened. So the point is, if you're long the stock, at least do this. Let's see if I can draw a straight line, kind of a straight line. At least keep a stop or something under here. If the stock, and I've done this before on this stock, on this chart, if the stock falls below your trailing stop and then moves higher again, go ahead and buy it back, even if you wind up buying it back for a higher price. What you don't want to do is just become a fan of Apple and think it's going to the moon. I do believe it's underowned. I think that because the market's strong, a lot of funds are looking for alpha. They're looking for outperformance of the S&P, and Apple's one of those stocks, so they got to hold their nose and buy it despite the big run-up. Anyway, the bottom line is I think you need to hold Apple, but understand that the volume's a little bit low, so don't be surprised if the stock pulls back. And you know what? That's all I can tell you.